The Nintendo Switch was a revolutionary console when it came out in 2017. Nintendo were coming off a pretty disastrous run for the Wii U, and the 3DS had already been out for a solid 6 years at this point, and was pretty much the more loved Nintendo console. So they were left with two options when it came to their home console. Either make a brand new one and see if they can capture the magic the Wii had gotten. Nothing will ever capture the magic of the Wii except a Wii 2, or bank on the handheld market and fully pivot to the 3DS. Well, they decided to do both and neither at the same time, and they just kind of created a hybrid gaming wonder that we know and love today. I got my original Switch Christmas of 2017. Shout out mom, with Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. And oh boy, this thing had me hooked. I loved that while at home, I got the full TV experience, but when visiting family or going on trips during marching band, I could pack that sucker up and take it with me on the go. Like, genuinely, this thing was a major factor in why people in high school saw me as a nerd. Well, it's 2025 now, and up until now, I've been rocking that original Nintendo Switch I got with the original kickstand and everything. But as time goes on and Nintendo has done what they always do and released multiple versions that are better, and oh my god, I'm fucking stuck without an OLED, I figured it was time to finally upgrade. And thankfully, Nintendo had finally just released the sequel to this great console, the Switch 2. A much needed refresh of the Switch 1 which was getting outclassed by other consoles, except this wasn't really a refresh, it was Nintendo's next generation. Looking at the Switch 2, you have a lot of compelling upgrades, sort of. You have a bigger screen, except unlike the OLED model, it's not OLED, and we're back to an LCD screen. In classic Nintendo fashion, we are going 2 steps forward with this system, but 1 step back. Or you could go 5 steps back if you're the Wii U. But still, the screen is nice, and so far I've had no trouble enjoying this thing in handheld mode. The battery is also larger, but due to increased hardware, the Switch 2's battery is actually shorter than its OLED counterpart. The Joy-Cons are better though, I will give them that. Some people have still had some stick drift issues, but thankfully, I'm not those people, so not my problem, not a complaint. I use them every time I play Mario Kart, as my fiance likes to use the Pro Controller, and so far, I still win. Lastly, a new kickstand, which comes in handy when charging it from the top USB port. That's right, we finally got a charging port on top of this bad thing, instead of the one on the bottom that's hard to play with while charging, and it bends on your chest when it's poking you and you're trying to lay in bed, trying to play Animal Crossing, and it gets on your thing, and it gets annoying, and then, as you can tell, I don't like the bottom USB charging port. With these upgrades and changes, I was excited to try out some of the games on the Switch 2. And well, we'll get into that, but first I have to talk about the lack of games, as well as the fucking price of these games. $70 for a game is outrageous, and I'm going to flat out say that. For any console, not just Nintendo, it makes it so hard to get excited for any new release because of the pricing. Oh, a new Kirby game and a new Mario game came out at the same time? You better pick and choose, because that would be $140 for 2 games. I love Nintendo games, but oh my god, this shit makes me want to die. Also, the Switch 2 released with like 70% third-party and ports and non-Nintendo games. Cyberpunk is cool on the Switch 2. It's one of my favorite FPS RPGs of all time, and I will be replaying it on my Switch 2. Playing handicap basketball is also an interesting choice, but it looks cool. But dude, some of these major releases are just Switch 1 upgrades, like the Zelda games. So unless the Switch is the only console you own or you genuinely have not played certain games, some of the Switch 2 library that it's releasing with is going to feel like a repeat. And that sucks because you want to get excited for release titles. So just be aware of that. So my Switch came with Mario Kart World, and then I also bought Donkey Kong Bonanza, and my fiance bought Animal Crossing. On top of this, my Switch 1 library is backwards compatible, so I had some decent games to play and test this out. The Switch 1 games don't look much better as they were designed for the Switch 1, and when you design it for certain hardware, putting it on new hardware doesn't change much, but they do run better, and it does improve performance and load times, so it's still an upgrade. Mario Kart World is a blast. I can't lie. I want to say that it's the same old thing, but it's pretty fun. I finished every Grand Prix 150cc the day we got the Switch 2 because it was that addicting. Also, the way you unlock costumes by finding food during the races is pretty seamless and a unique way to do unlocks. Instead of just beating every race, you have to actually plan ahead a little bit. Playing with others is also pretty fun. I've done a couple online matches, but dude, some of these shortcut sweats have been hard to deal with. Like, look at this shit. I can't do that. How am I supposed to remember that? I don't want to learn this for every track. Still a fun game, though. Donkey Kong Bonanza is peak. The team behind Mario Odyssey created this game, so you knew they were gonna cook up something sweet. And oh boy, you can tell. It is everything that made Mario Odyssey a Game of the Year contender cranked up to 11. Because Donkey Kong can smash through the terrain, the level design becomes so much more engrossing and unique and really makes you just enjoy being this giant monkey that breaks everything. I literally spent 30 minutes in the tutorial level smashing dirt like a wind-up monkey toy because I just kept getting things. This game is what made buying the Switch 2 feel worth it for me personally. Having a Nintendo game that was created over years of development specifically for this console means that it uses every piece of hardware to its full potential, leading to that same feeling I got back in 2017 when Mario Odyssey first came out. 60 FPS, beautiful graphics and lighting, a world cultivated specifically for Donkey Kong as a character, a pretty decent story as well. It never just felt so good to play a Donkey Kong game, and after some of the lack of love he's been getting as a character in his own IP, I think this has been great. I'm hoping this leads to other Nintendo characters also getting their due. My fiance has been running around in Animal Crossing New Horizons from the Switch 1 and runs perfectly fine just like it did. It was a Switch 1 game, so the biggest difference is it runs at a constant FPS and the loading times are faster, but not much else has changed between the two. But hey, new Animal Crossing in 2026 possibly, so we can look forward to that. Maybe this time they'll finally change the formula more drastically because man, it is getting repetitive. Lastly, taking a look at the retro consoles on the expansion pack. It's all right, I guess. Look, I'm not a hater. Okay, that was a lie. I am a hater. But I just don't think the library is extensive enough to justify the extra price to get the more other expansion packs. Like the GameCube itself has 4 games when I launched it last. That's almost as many as the PS5. And then you look at the others and they do have a lot more choices, but when it comes down to it, the Switch 2, if you're buying it for the retro consoles, you're better off just emulating them because it's first-party games for the most part, and the expansion pack consoles don't have as much as even the free ones that you get with just Nintendo Switch Online. So just emulate them, honestly, and don't buy the Switch 2 for just that. Now, for my favorite thing to do with new technology, speculate on what I think will happen so I can justify my purchase. Yay! First up, I want more customization options. I think the joy of having a console is making it feel like no one has the same console. And I'm not talking about physical, like, putting stickers on it and stuff. No, I'm talking about in the actual software. Give me a color option for the menu first. I do not want just white and black. I want multiple colors, and I want to be able to make it my favorite color. Give me even the ability to unlock character-specific themes where my background would be themed based on a game that I 100%ed or I played a lot of. If I 100%, I don't know, Donkey Kong Bonanza, give me a special background on my Switch. That would make it rewarding. Or, give me the damn option to turn my menu into the Wii menu. That would be enough. I genuinely think if Nintendo could nail customization on the Switch 2, it would make this thing just way more enticing to a younger audience who really enjoys that aspect of it like me. I want Mario Galaxy 3. Or at least something similar. Donkey Kong Bonanza has gotten me my Mario Odyssey style fix, so I don't want Mario Odyssey 2 per se, but I want something like Mario Galaxy, maybe even Mario Galaxy and Mario Odyssey combined. The fun of Mario Galaxy was how free it felt. Like I could finish half of one world, say, I'm so over this sucks, and then go collect stars in another world. It was such a unique and free feeling that no other game really captured for me, and it was my first 3D Mario on the Wii that really got me hooked into the Wii ecosystem. Mario Odyssey got close, but I still felt a little pigeonholed into a path that the game was recommending to me, and honestly, with how many moons there are, it felt a little overwhelming. Also, Mario Galaxy is the greatest Mario game ever created in my eyes. It took advantage of the Wii's motion controls so well. It felt so seamless. So that's definitely influencing my buy it. And flying through space and using all those different upgrades. Also, Mario Galaxy gave us Rosalina. Like, come on, that's a W. And lastly, I just want a new Fire Emblem game that is as good as Three Houses. Please, I am begging on my knees, just give me a new Fire Emblem game that has a story I actually care about. Engage's gameplay was awesome, and Three Houses' story was awesome. So just combine them and boom. 60 FPS Dream Fire Emblem game. Why is it so difficult? This franchise is one of my favorites, and I swear if they mess it up, I am not going to say what I do. And that is about it. I am enjoying the Switch 2, but have many things I hope they add to improve. If I had to give like a verdict, I believe it's worth the purchase with the huge asterisk of I had the original Switch that came out. So if you have like an OLED Switch or something, or a modded Switch, until more first-party games come out for the Switch 2 or even compelling third-party games, just wait. It's probably not worth your money or your time. Or you could be like me, just be a huge Nintendo shill.